Hello everyone, it's Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. I'm just doing a little video this morning. It's not much about knitting, but I'm just going to show you how I managed this little cardigan. Went to my granddaughter's yesterday and I got the little bit wool back that I gave her for pom-pom, so I had enough to do this little cardigan, and I still got a little bit left over, so I was happy about that because I gave her more than I thought I had given her actually. So that's one little little cardigan for a little girl I've got to add to my stock, and to add to the other one that I've done for a little boy. So I've got one for a little girl and one for a little boy. That's what I'm going to be selling at the moment. So that's two little jobs finished, and then the jumper, or the sweater, some people call them we call them jumpers up here in the northeast. This one, I've got the sleeve nearly finished, so I'm going to carry on and do that one for little Tommy before he grows out of it. And then after that I can get back to this one, the big pink one that I've had to put down for a little while till I swear I was going to get those finished, and I have done. So to keep my videos going, because I've noticed something since I've been monetized. If I don't put a video up every day, I don't make much revenue. So most of my revenue is coming from the videos that I put up every day. I get a little bit now and again from the my older videos. If anybody watches them and watches the adverts, I get a few pennies off those, but most of it's coming from the videos that I'm putting up now. So I'm going to make this video a little bit longer, and I'm going to tell you another little story, a little bit about my life. And this is about my husband. His name was Alan, and we were married in 1967. And he died in 2014, so I've been a widow since 2014. But most of those years, they were good years. I would say there was only one thing that would ever have made me divorce him, and that was women drivers. He had no tolerance whatsoever for women drivers, me included. And I remember when I first went on a date with him, he had a car at the time, and I was learning to drive, and I remember him saying one or two things about women drivers, you know, about they shouldn't be allowed on the road and things like that. So I didn't tell him that I was learning to drive, and it wasn't until quite later I think he came up to my parents' house to pick me up one day, and the fella that I had been taking the driving lessons from was dropping me off at the same time, so that was when he realised that I was was going to be a woman driver. But that didn't make any difference to him. I was still a woman driver and shouldn't be allowed on the road. One or two examples. After we were married, we used to go out now and again, and he'd always drive. Even if we were going for a drink, he would drive. But as I was a designated driver for coming home, I didn't drink because I knew I was going to end up having to drive us home. And there was one night, there was a couple of his friends wanted a lift home as well, and I was getting sick of these nights where we were going out and I couldn't have a drink. I couldn't really enjoy myself. I was drinking soft drinks all night, and I was getting a little bit sick of it, you know, and I'd said to them once or twice, you know, can we not just get a taxi and a taxi back? And oh no, that was going to cost too much money and that, you know. So I knew for a fact I was going to end up having to drive back home again. So this night his two friends wanted a lift home. So we were driving along the road, and they were as bad as him as far as women drivers were concerned. I wasn't doing this right, I wasn't doing that right, and they were really getting on my nerves. And one of them said, we come to the roundabout. Oh, you could have been around there by now, man. If been me, I would have been around now, you know. And I said, oh, you would you? So I stopped, slammed the brakes on the car, I got round the roundabout and I slammed the brakes on and stopped the car and I opened the car door and I, right, get out. What do you mean? What do you mean, get out? It's in the middle of nowhere. I says, you can do better than me, can you? I says, I'm sick of your criticism. I says, get out of my car. I says, you can walk home. I says, never mind, you know what you've been calling me and that. And after a few arguments, you know, with my husband, that, he let them back in the car. So I had to take them home. But every time when I was out with my husband driving in the car, if I was driving, I never held the gear stick the way he held the gear stick. I didn't look far enough ahead. I let too many people around the roundabout. I should have been out, and it was just one criticism after another. And I was so annoyed one time. I just slammed the brakes on in the middle of the road and got out the car. And I says, you, get in the driver's seat. And he, what's the matter with you? I says, I says, my driving was good enough for the driving inspector, or I would have passed the test. So I say, shut up, or get in the driver's seat. And he didn't, he just let me continue driving. But this went on for years, and I was really getting sick of it. And anyway, my husband, after a few years, he was ill for quite a while and that. And this is probably about 2 years before he died. There was something happened, and we had just gotten a new car, and he never hadn't driven it because he hadn't been very well and hadn't been up to driving, but he was, you know, getting better and he was okay and that. And we got this new car and he wanted to drive it, so we went out this day, and I forget where we went, around some of the local coastal areas and that for driving. We were coming back home again along the coast road, and at the time he had been ill. I had been doing a lot of roadworks around the some of these roundabouts that came off the coast road, and they went up to, we have a shopping place called Silver Link, and there was about 3 lots of traffic lights around the islands. That's what they had been doing, putting the traffic lights all around the islands. And well, my husband hadn't drove around there since they had put the traffic lights. There had been just ordinary roundabouts the last time he had drove around there. So we're coming back, and we come off the coast road and we're coming down to these islands, and all the way around these islands, past all these traffic lights, my foot was flat on the floor. You know, when you're a passenger and you're a driver, you automatically brake when you should brake, and even though there's no pedals in front of you, that's what I do automatically, and that's what I was doing all the way around these islands. And then we came up to the Silver Link and parked in the car park where we were going to, and I sat there, and my heart was in my mouth, and I said to my husband, I says, you know what, you just drove round all those traffic lights on red. And he looked at me and he said, what traffic lights? That was the last time my husband ever drove. He handed the car keys to me. He said, there you are, the car's yours. And that was the kind of things I had to put up with all those years. But I remember when my granddaughter started learning, like Cheryl, when she started learning to drive, I said to my husband at the time, oh, Cheryl's taking up driving lessons. Oh, well, she'll be a good driver. I said, oh, your granddaughter's a good driver, but your wife's not. That's the thing. Cheryl couldn't do anything wrong in his eyes, like, you know, so she'll be a good driver, and she is a good driver. My husband, that's just the way he was. I had all those years, and that's, if I'd ever divorced him, it would have been through that, through his idea of women drivers who shouldn't be allowed on the road. I have a different idea to that, but that's just a little bit story that I'm telling you to keep up these videos going, because if I do videos for about 10 minutes, I'll get some adverts in the middle of them. If that's short ones, you just get an advert at the start and maybe it's one at the end. But if they're about between 8 and 10 minutes, you get adverts in the middle. And as long as people click on these adverts or watch the adverts, I'll get a few pennies. So all you my subscribers, don't forget that. Help me with a few little pennies, will you, please? And if you like my video, thumbs up. and subscribe. So don't forget. And I'll see you all again and tell you another story some other time that you might like. And I think of something else. And I can think of quite a lot of stories to tell you, especially about driving.